very active. I think there was something like 25 transactions that took place. And he seems to have, bedded down a very, very useful side. Obviously, their confidence is very high, top of the league. If they approach it, very aggressive, I mean, the danger could be that they approach it looking at the opposition thinking, well, they're a little bit intimidated by some of the stars in the Spurs side. But if they have a real go at it, then it might be an interesting night.
It might be. Stay with us. And we won't just bring you action from this game. We've got goals from all the following fixtures. Charlton against Hartlepool, Gillingham against Portsmouth, Mansfield against Southampton, Rotherham Leeds, Scunthorpe against Birmingham, Sheffield Wednesday at the bottom of the Championship against West Ham, who are going so well, and Wycombe, the only other side outside the Premiership, unbeaten at home to Aston Villa. And we'll keep you up to date with all the other ties as well, all the other 13. Here's the formations tonight. Let's look at the home side Grimsby first of all. They make one change from Saturday's 3-0 home league win against Torquay, which took them to the top. Andy Parkinson, number 11, who missed the game with shin splints, replaces Terry Barwick. Ex-Spurs trainee Kieran Toner's on the bench. He's actually made no senior appearances for the club yet. And interestingly, there's no substitute goalkeeper on the Grimsby bench. Will that be a gamble? What sort of side have Spurs turned out? Well, it's a strong one. Martin Jol has made 3 changes from the 1-1 draw at Villa on Saturday. New signing Gregor Raziak is cup-tied, so Robbie Keane, Spurs hero at Villa, makes his 2nd start of the season in his 300th English career appearance. Anthony Gardner, who's been an ever-present, is out with a thigh injury suffered in the draw at Villa, so Nabet will make his first start. Michael Brown comes in. Jermaine Genus moves to right midfield, and there's no Edgar Davids. He's still out with a groin injury suffered in training on the Thursday prior to Saturday's draw at Aston Villa. OK, the teams. Look at Tottenham first of all. That's strong, isn't it?
I think Martin Jol has paid the ultimate compliment to Grimsby. I think it's the strongest side he could possibly select tonight. I'm interested to see the front two, Keane and Defoe, because I think if Mido had been not suspended and Rasiak had not been cup-tied, then undoubtedly one of those would have played.
Does he not like the two of them together, do you think?
I think if he had a choice, he would sooner play the big one and the smaller one. But I think it may work tonight, because if you look at the two Grimsby centre-halves, Jones is 6'7", and Whittle is also another big lad. So I would think they would prefer to play against the orthodox big English centre-forward rather than two very clever players in Defoe and Robbie Keane.
Right, let's find out what Martin Jol has made of his own selection tonight. He's been speaking with Fraser Robertson.
You've named your strongest available lineup. Is that an indication of how serious Tottenham are taking this competition?
I think we have to do it, Carling Cup is an important cup for us. Last year it was, so we try to play with the strongest team as possible.
What kind of challenge do you expect from Grimsby? They're going well in League Two.
They're top of the league, they're doing very well. They're physical side, they're very, difficult to beat with set pieces, corner kicks. So we have to stand up for that.
Jermaine Defoe and Robbie Keane up front because Mido's suspended and Rasiak's cup-tied. You were saying you perhaps don't fancy the two small guys. Is there a chance for both of them to prove you wrong?
No, I think it's not up to them, it's up to the team, I think it's not a problem of them, it's a problem for us all. They have to prove, the team as a whole, to prove that we can play with two little ones. There's a couple of other teams who are doing that. You can do well, but you need a lot of movement. If you don't do that, it's easy to defend.
Thanks, Martin.
Okay, thank you.
And we can see now, warming up, one of those little ones. It's Robbie Keane. He's set to make his 300th English career appearance tonight. Still only 25, Trevor. 5 clubs, and obviously very interesting to see how it works with Defoe tonight.
Yeah, he's a player that I've always admired because he's got natural ability. And the goal that he scored against Aston Villa at the weekend, there aren't that many players in English football who could have actually scored this goal.
Do you know, this was Spurs' first goal for 6 hours. The last one was on the 20th of August, scored by Mido.
I mean, he's got such quick feet, and it reminds me of Ronaldinho, the Brazilian, who could also score a goal like that. There's something wrong with Robbie Keane that he never seems to hold down a regular place. He's only 25 years of age. He's had about 5 different clubs. I'm not quite sure. I think that, is it that he doesn't score enough goals? Does he not put enough on the end of his play? Because he certainly entertains the fans, but does he score enough goals? I mean, if you look at his record for the Republic of Ireland, he's got a better goal-scoring record for his country than he has for the clubs that he's played for.
Yes, he's the top scorer for the Irish Republic. Now, what about Grimsby? Let's have a look at them. They are top of League Two. They beat Torquay 3-0 at the weekend. They had a very poor season last season when they actually finished 18th, and the manager did something fairly spectacular. He brought in 13 new players, and it seems to have done the trick. Tonight is also a special night for one Grimsby player in particular. 36-year-old John McDermott is making his 700th appearance for the club. Macca, as he's known, holds the club record now and made his debut way back in 1987.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to have such a big game to remember it by as well. And they don't come much bigger than Spurs. But no, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying my football, you know, and that's credit to the players here and the management. You know, I think the older you get, the more I enjoy it.
He's an absolute model professional. He does everything right, really looks after himself. He's remarkable, really. He's a dinosaur here, of course, but a lovable one, and you know, we're delighted with what he's doing even now.
Well, the last few years here, like I said, with the double relegation was hard to take, especially the fans, you know. I think last season they were expecting to bounce straight back with coming down from a higher league, and that was disappointing. But this year, like you say, we've started well, we're top of the league, and hopefully good times are just around the corner. We're
in a great vein of form at the minute. Certainly it was important for us to be focused and pick up the 3 points against Torquay on Saturday. We've got that, so if there was ever a good time for a big game or a big side to be coming to Blundell Park, then obviously it's now.
You've done one over on them previously. You've got history in that sense with Tottenham, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. I was a very young, inexperienced manager, if you like, at the time when I was with Notts County. It was a strong Spurs side, Klinsmann played, I do remember that. But we lifted ourselves for that game and it was a great night.
Now you've got to mastermind something similar.
Yeah, so as I said, and I've said in the past, it's always important to go in with a game plan. And certainly we'll have a game plan for Spurs. I think we have to treat it that way. I think it's important that my players know that they're going out there with something to stick to and something to work at.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but you know, we're going to enjoy it. But I always think you enjoy it if you play well. You know, no team wants to get battered 5 and 6-0. That's not enjoyable for anybody to watch or to be part of. So as long as you put in an individually decent performance and the team collectively, we'll be happy with that.
Well, hats off to John McDermott. There he is. He's receiving his special award for his 700th appearance. That's terrific, isn't it, Trevor?
It is. They've got a very experienced back four. Gary Croft, the left back, he started his career at Grimsby and he's now returned there. It's a different Grimsby to what we've come accustomed to over the years. You know, they've always been a very neat, you know, short passing sort of team, but with Russell Slade, they're much more direct and very good on set pieces. Just a little warning to Spurs, they've got to be careful. You know, they've got some big lads in this team. I mentioned Rob Jones, the centre-half. He's 6'7", and the other Jones, Gary Jones, he's 6'4". So they don't want to be conceding too many free kicks and corners.
Right, so that's the way if Grimsby are going to get through this tie. What do you expect to happen?
Well, looking at the Spurs side, you know, it's a very, very strong side. I would think Russell Slade is slightly disappointed seeing that team. He would have hoped that one or two, you know, fringe players would have come in. I think that Spurs will be too strong for Grimsby.
Let's find out if Trevor's right. It's a full house at Blundell Park. We're there as well, and so is Brian Marwood and Alan Parry.
Grimsby Town, top of the league. It's not often they've been able to say that in the long history of this football club, perched on the banks of the Humber Estuary in a part of the country that many football fans pass by, but few ever stop to visit. The arrival of a famous Premiership team packed with international stars really couldn't have been timed better. As you've heard on Saturday, Grimsby went to the top of League Two, the first time for 14 years that the Mariners, as they're known, have led any division. And they certainly deserve their moment in the spotlight. Grimsby have made a superb start to the season. They've won 6 of their last 7 games, including 3 in a row. And in the last round of this competition, they beat Championship team Derby County away from home. Brian, you started your own playing career not far from here at Hull City. How would you describe the feeling for football in this part of the world?
I think it's very passionate. I mean, we'll see that tonight. I mean, they've never had massive gates, certainly not challenging the likes of Hull City across the Humber, but in their way, it's a very tight, compact ground here at Blundell Park, and it's one that visiting sides have always really struggled to deal with the atmosphere, the noise, when it's been a proper cup tie type evening, and tonight that's how Grimsby fans have got to make it.
Well, Grimsby were sweating on the fitness of winger Andy Parkinson, one of 2 players in their team. The other is striker Gary Jones, who played in the final of this competition for Tranmere Rovers 5 years ago. Parkinson is suffering from a shin problem, but as you can see, he is okay. 2 of these players have appeared in the Premiership. Fullback Gary Croft for Ipswich and Blackburn, and in-form striker Michael Reddy, who used to play for Sunderland.
Well, it's a night for big hearts, great determination, and I guess a big slice of luck. If Russell's team are to get a result here tonight, they are going well in the league, as you've already mentioned, Alan, but it's certainly going to be a big evening for these players, especially the goalkeeper, Steve Middlehall, who could really end up having a very busy night. A couple of areas where they might get a bit of joy is through the pace of Andy Parkinson down that left-hand side, and also, as Trevor was mentioning in the studio, set pieces. You know, Spurs aren't a big side, and Grimsby do have the likes of Whittle and Rob Jones, Gary Jones, who could be a real handful, but the key of that is whether the delivery is right, and that's what they need to really concentrate on.
Well, Spurs will unleash Jermaine Defoe and Robbie Keane on the Grimsby defence. It's a combination that Martin Jol doesn't really believe in, but both his big target men are unavailable tonight. The Egyptian Mido is suspended. Polish international Rashak cup-tied. Anthony Gardner has a thigh injury that could keep him out for several weeks, so the experienced Nuruddin Naibet deputises in defence, and Michael Brown gets a starting place in midfield.
Well, Martin certainly made his intentions clear, hasn't he, with the lineup that he's gone with tonight. This back four as a unit is still getting to know each other, but there's a lot of experience in there. It's that midfield 4 and front 2 that should really give Grimsby plenty of problems if they are playing at full tilt. I think Carrick has been in outstanding form, and his promptings from the centre of the park will be one of the many situations that you do feel Grimsby will have to deal with. And the other obvious threat, of course, is the front 2. Martin might not always be comfortable playing them together, but they're both excellent individuals, blessed with a lot of quality.
It's certainly a night to remember for Grimsby skipper John McDermott, who plays his 700th game for his only club. McDermott made his debut over 18 years ago, and that was before the Tottenham substitute Aaron Lennon was even born. Tonight will certainly provide Grimsby with a big payday, and victory here, of course, could lead to even greater riches for them. Remember, the tie has to be settled on the night. There'll be extra time and penalties if required. Graham Laws is the referee. Tottenham in their change strip of all blue, and make no mistake, this is potentially a very tricky tie for Spurs. In recent years, Grimsby have knocked out 3 Premiership teams in this competition: Leicester City, Sheffield Wednesday, and most memorably Liverpool, who they beat 2-1 at Anfield. So Spurs have been warned. Easy header away for the giant centre-back Jones, and he'll win most of the aerial battles tonight, that's for sure. At 6'7", he's entitled to. One of the tallest players in the game, up against the quick, lively Keane and Defoe.
Well, they'll certainly want to stretch Grimsby very early, won't they? I mean, Defoe maybe to float around and try and just play off Robbie Keane. They've both got the potential to do that, but they really need to keep this back four at full stretch, because if they can do that, then that'll give the likes of Michael Carrick some room to play in midfield.
Reddy dispossessed at the other end. He's a striker in form, scored 2 superb goals here against Torquay at the weekend in the game that saw Grimsby go top of League 2. His header on to McDermott, and a potentially dangerous cross. Bolland just waited for the bounce. Croft with the cross. They've got 2 big men in the middle, in Reddy and Gary Jones, but offside the verdict.
Certainly when that ball came in from Gary Croft, you can see he's got one thing in his mind, and that's to look for Gary Jones and then think that Michael Reddy in our picture at the moment will just feed off any situation.
Spurs, obviously, with their superior skills and experience, will be expected by most people to win this. But there have been many famous casualties in this competition and the FA Cup over the years. Spurs certainly treating their opponents with respect. You can see that from the team they fielded. Here's Keane early on, and his ankle wrapped. Whittle, the culprit, and a very dangerous free kick for Grimsby to concede.
Certainly weren't disputing this, were they, Grimsby Town? Fabulous bit of skill, isn't it, from Robbie Keane? He looked incredibly sharp and bright when he came on as a substitute at Villa Park on Saturday. He'll be looking to carry that on here tonight. It's a good opportunity for him. He hasn't always been a regular, has he, in this side, and he'll really want to make a point.
Plenty of candidates again for this Tottenham free kick. This is not the situation Grimsby wanted so early in the tie. Parkinson just helping his goalkeeper Mildenhall to get the wall lined up. Looks as though it could be Defoe, but there are other candidates. Carrick with his back to goal. It is Defoe.
Good pace on the free kick, wasn't it? It's certainly the area where the goalkeeper's showing him, and he's saying, there you go. Well, I'm not sure whether he knew that was going to go wide.
Missed a penalty, of course, didn't he, against Aston Villa at the weekend, and he's gone 4 games now without a goal.
We know he's got a lot of quality, and we know that already at such a tender age he's got a very good pedigree of scoring goals. So, you know, players like Defoe, Keane, will be looking for opportunities like the likes of Grimsby that they can get back on the goal-scoring charts.
Little did well against him then. Keane was threatening for Tottenham. Good tackle by Jones. Carrick. There's Andy Reid. No test at all for the Grimsby goalkeeper.
Well, I said about the fact that Tottenham need to start well here tonight, just to make sure that Grimsby don't get any encouragement. And I think that the pace and the tempo of their game is certainly encouraging from a Spurs point of view.
Spurs ended a run of 3 games without a goal when Robbie Keane scored at Villa on Saturday. It was their first goal in over 6 hours of football. They've won 2 of their 6 Premiership matches so far, drawn 3. The only defeat came against Chelsea. Poor kick by Mildenhall. He's played every game since he signed from Oldham Athletic in the summer. There have been huge changes here. 12 players left in the close season, 13 came in. Very unusual for such a new-look team and squad to gel so quickly and so well. Staltieri on to Carrick. Tottenham themselves with plenty of new faces, of course. Keane trading off the shoulder of the last defender, something he's done so well in his career. Brown. Staltieri. Nabat. And Michael Brown again. Here's Lee. On to Reid. He regained his place in the starting lineup on Saturday. Decent looking cross. Keane coming in on the back post.
He does brilliantly to win that header, you know, against Rob Jones. But he's incredibly unselfish, Robbie Keane, because he's just tried a little header down to Jermaine Defoe.
Clever skills between Keane and Defoe. But Jones stood strong. Here's Kalala, interesting little player.
Could be a big player for them tonight. I think that he's got a lot of energy, he's tenacious, and really all round the park, that's how Grimsby need to approach this game. You know, they can't really allow just to sit off these Spurs players, because if they do, they really will destroy them with their passing and their movement.
They'll have to pass better than that, though. Staltieri clumsily giving it away. Now ready. Nabat had the nous just to hold him up. It's a good ball in field to Parkinson. He's got Gary Jones in the middle as well. But he's still available out wide. Here's Croft. And a break on here for Tottenham down their left with Yunpyo Lee. Reid. Brown wanted it back. Now Carrick. And to Staltieri. There's Brown. To have a little ball. Keane in an instant turned and shot and earns a corner.
I think if the keeper had his bearings right, he might well have left that, because it certainly looked as if it was going to go wide. Again, good clever play from Spurs. And I think Grimsby really need to get a little bit closer, start putting these Tottenham players under a little bit more pressure. At the moment they're just sitting off, giving them just a yard or two, and that's all it really takes.
Grimsby feel one of their main hopes tonight is from set pieces. Their first job, though, is to defend one. Comes back to Reid. Well, he took too much time. Well, I wasn't going to give him that kind of time. Parkinson's got pace, but Brown matched him every step of the way. Not a bad ball in for Reddy. Parkinson's there again. Jones on the far post. It was Reed back defending for Tottenham. And certainly when they do break, they break quickly and effectively, Grimsby.
I'm sure Martin Yole would have been furious if something had come to that, because there's a Tottenham Hotspur corner. The next minute they're having to defend. Good break. It came through, once again, the industry of Kalala in midfield. Talked already about him, Alan, and what he can give this Grimsby side. And a lot of those type of performances, if they are to get anything out of tonight.
Ball by Naybet, gifting it to Croft. Reddy, though, finds himself offside. Well, Russell Slade finds himself riding high after a very difficult first season here at Grimsby, when they finished in their lowest league position for over 30 years. As I mentioned, he's made big changes since then, and so far they're working perfectly. Here's Lee. Keane's layoff to Defoe. Clearance by Whittle, the Grimsby captain. King. Lee. Tottenham do have an excellent record in this competition. They've reached the final 5 times and won the trophy on 3 occasions. And they got to the quarter-final or better in 4 out of the last 8 seasons, including last season, in fact, when they were beaten by Liverpool.
It's a slight problem area for them on that right-hand side. We've seen already Aaron Lennon on the bench, but still too inexperienced for Martin Yole to play him in games such as tonight. Routledge still to get fit, and a very promising pre-season. Jermaine Genius is playing down that right-hand side this evening, and I don't think it's his natural position.
Reed back to Lee. Defoe. Stepped clear by Jones, but only as far as King. Now Andy Reid. Lee. Here's Brown. This is Staltieri. Keane. And this is the way a Premiership team would hope to demoralise opposition from the lowest tier, by keeping the ball as well as this, and making them run and chase and work hard. Grimsby did in fact play Premiership opposition at this stage last season and lost 2-0 here against Charlton. They'd beaten Wigan, who were then in the Championship, in the first round.
I think that's fine up to a point. If you're going to allow Spurs, you know, plenty of possession, it needs to be in the right areas, and that's a long way from your goal. And I think they get to that middle third or the final third where Spurs are trying to get the ball into Keane and Defoe, and that's where you have to get a lot closer. At the moment, they look nice and organised. 4-4-2 formation for Grimsby, and I think if Spurs keep passing the ball around and go from left to right and just begin to stretch Grimsby, then you do feel at some point, you know, chances will come along.
I mentioned Tottenham's record. Grimsby also have a respectable past in this competition. They've actually reached the quarter-finals 3 times. Although they'll have to go back 20 years to find the last occasion they did so. McDermott. Owen coming in from that right touchline. Whittle. McDermott will chase. Macca, as he's known to everyone here. He is in fact the longest serving current player at the same club anywhere in the game in England. Robinson's kick easily cleared by Rob Jones. Ready, challenging King. Robinson always one of the best kickers of a ball amongst the top goalkeepers.
It's interesting listening to Martin Yole saying about having to play the front two of Keane and Defoe. It's not easy for somebody like Paul Robinson, as you rightly said. Great delivery off the deck, but you know, if you're trying to knock balls forward to Defoe and Keane, you're going to have the likes of Jones and Whittle just really coming and thundering headers back towards Tottenham defensive third.
Lovely ball from Carrick to pick out Reed. Brown getting forward. Clearance by Whittle, who chases back as the free kick's already been taken, the throw in rather. And then Lee's cross easily blocked. Dermot looking for Reddy. Very calm defending by Ledley King, at least I hope it was. It looked as though he was going to give the ball away at first. Reddy. He'll be happy with that. First corner of the game for the home side.
Well, we've already talked about how important set pieces could potentially be for this Grimsby side, but the delivery is key. And this is where Parkinson needs to provide the likes of Whittle and Rob Jones, Gary Jones, with some decent ammunition to get after.
Rob Jones coming in from the edge of the area. He did in fact score against Torquay on Saturday. It was a shot though, rather than a header. And he won the header. Parkinson. Jones has stayed forward, not a bad ball in. Oh, it was a brilliant save by Robinson to deny Grimsby what would have been a shock early lead here.
Well, it's pure instinct.
Although, in fact, the offside flag has gone up.
It's pure instinct, but the referee's assistant had his flag up. Paul Robinson wasn't to know, though, and he reacted superbly well.
Here's Lee. Robinson was heroic in Tottenham's draw at Aston Villa on Saturday with 3 top-class saves in the first half when Villa were on top. And although the linesman's flag cut short the excitement, he showed his ability again already here.
The key to that, Alan, is that although it didn't directly come from the set piece, you know, you've got enough bodies upfield to then have a second opportunity to get the ball back into danger. You can clearly see he's offside, but as I say, Paul Robinson wasn't to know that. He really is in an outstanding form at the moment.
He might be called upon again here. Another set piece and another dangerous ball in. Bolland. Turned to see if help was around, and there was none. Lee wins it back and finds Reed. Dangerous play by Reed, going across his own penalty box. He's got away with that. There's Brown. It's a good ball too for Keane. Clever. Defoe offside though.
Very bright play, wasn't it, once again from Robbie Keane. The problem was Jermaine Defoe had nowhere to run. Once he had to check back, and once that Grimsby back four just stepped up a yard or two, it would be inevitable he was going to get caught offside.
He has, as you might imagine, a wonderful record in this competition, Jermaine Defoe. 11 goals in 11 previous ties.
To do with getting one tonight, couldn't he just break that little barren run that he's on?
Reddy's flick on. Jones had anticipated it. Reddy takes on, but fails to get round Lee, but does win the throw for his side. Made a good start, Reddy. With Premiership experience, as we mentioned, in his Sunderland days. And he's earned another throw. A lot of people feel he has quality to still go higher in the game. He's the target here for the throw, and he's won it impressively. It's turned into trouble, and Bolland blazes his shot right over the roof of the stand.
I'm sure the Spurs players wouldn't have been happy with their skipper. Ledley King certainly took a little bit too much time dealing with the situation. Once Reddy had tried to trick his way past the Spurs skipper, you can see there, again, good foraging by the Grimsby players. That time it was Cohen to win the ball back, set up an opportunity for Bolland. Certainly playing with a lot of endeavour, aren't they, this Grimsby side? And I have to say, we talked about the atmosphere here at Blundell Park. It's a full house. They really do create a sort of intimidating atmosphere, and it's certainly lifting their team at the moment.
Grimsby have won 7 of their 10 games so far. Their only defeats both came here, ironically, against Darlington and Stockport in League 2. They've got a terrific away record. They've won every match on the road.
It's funny talking to the coaching staff beforehand. It's sort of almost a sense of irony that they felt this might end up being like an away game because Spurs would have so much possession.
Abet, Staltieri, and here's King. Lee. This is Reed. Faced by McDermott. And Whittle just took the legs of Robbie Keane.
It's a little clumsy, wasn't it? That's a couple of occasions where Whittle just been too eager, really, to win the ball back. I have no complaint, really. Quite crude.
Defoe. McDermott with the interception. Goal kick. Well, how about this for an unusual statistic? Both goalkeepers have actually scored in this competition. Steve Mildenhall here with a free kick when he was playing for Notts County. At the other end, England's Paul Robinson. He scored with a last-minute header in his Leeds United days. Finds Brown, given away by the South Korean international Carrick. On to Nabet. Keane's given it away. Croft under pressure from Jermaine Genus. Played a sensible ball in behind the defence. Nabet equal to it though. There's Brown, who reached the semi-finals in this competition with Sheffield United. Keane was offside.
It's a long way offside. He just wanted that played a little bit early. You can see that he's just anxious to really run in behind. There's a lot of space and very close to being onside. Gary Croft just did enough to step up at the last minute that convinced the assistant on that far side that Keane was offside.
Mildenhall looking for Gary Jones. And he won it. Ready was about to shoot. Nabet took the ball off his toe. Kalala and Bolland battling to win it back. And Parkinson just outpaced by Jermaine Defoe. Grimsby hassling their opponents though, forcing them to play the ball back. And ultimately to give it away, but Cohen wasn't strong enough in the challenge against Brown. And then Reed deceived him as well. Good ball for Staltieri. Parkinson has it back for Grimsby. Croft. It's another offside decision, this time against Reddy.
Well, for all their possession, Spurs, they haven't really opened up this Grimsby Town side. They've looked well organised. Russell Slade's side. And, as if they're a unit that want to really work hard for each other and try and get something out of this game tonight.
Lee getting forward here. Whittle got in the way.
Again, good work rate. Sometimes you can only do this for so long. Talking to Russell beforehand, and they had a pre-season and an army camp and got incredibly fit. Pre-season results were good. They certainly started the season well. I think that fitness is going to be tested here tonight because on a side like Tottenham have as much a possession as we've seen so far.
And Reed gets in. Good save by Mildenhall. Reaction. I think he stopped it with his legs. Doesn't matter how you keep them out. First time really that Grimsby have been beaten like that. And that's lifted the Premiership side. Nabet. On to Staltieri. Genus wide right. Now Carrick. Keane got the shout from Defoe behind him. Those two linking impressively at the moment. And the cross towards Keane. Good defending from McDermott, and important too.
Even got a pat on the back from Robbie Keane, which was defensive duties that he did, John McDermott. Well, Spurs just upping the pace a little now. Good movement, Keane and Defoe. It was great defending from McDermott.
Midway through the first half of this tie, which has to be settled on the night, remember, and Premiership quality just beginning to shine through now. Grimsby can be pleased with their efforts so far. And they've got it back here with Jones. Launched for Reddy. Launched too far.
Well, he just wanted to buy some time. It's a tremendous save from Mildenhall. This is really the first time that Spurs have cut open this well-organised Grimsby defence. And perhaps McDermott could have done better with the situation, but instead he just let the ball run across his body. Reid anticipated the situation. Talked about big night for a lot of these Grimsby players, and I thought the goalkeeper might be a little bit busier than what he's been so far. And he came up with an important save.
Tottenham's only previous visit here in the League Cup tie was 14 years ago. They lost 3-0 that night. Gary Lineker amongst the scorers for Tottenham, who went on to reach the semi-finals that season. Jones heading it back in. Reddy's onside this time. And Cohen brushes his man aside. And a chance for Reddy. A very important clearance by Nabet. Keane. Some room here for Reid to run at McDermott. Defoe. Good challenge by Jones. Here's Bolland. McDermott's given it away to Jermaine Genius. And now Brown's beaten him. Keane has peeled away to the back post. Jermaine Defoe coming short. Here he is. Now he's given it away. Cohen. That's not a bad ball for Parkinson, who's got pace. But Nabet has got experience, and sometimes that can nullify pace.
Well, two very timely interceptions from Nabet. The original one when the ball looked as if it might find the head of Michael Reddy, and he just stepped across Reddy and won it. A vital and crucial header. He did very well here. I thought there may well have been a suspicion of a foul against Lee. Cohen certainly barged his way past. A decent ball set up for Jones, and then just when Reddy looked as if he could perhaps convert that opportunity, Nabet stepped in. And then again we saw it moments after with a challenge against Parkinson.
Jones took that well. Cohen shot. Could have easily deceived Robinson, because I don't think he caught it properly.
No, he didn't. No, he just sliced it a little bit, didn't he? Just needed a little bit more pace on the strike.
Andy Reid. 25 minutes gone at Blundell Park, still goalless here. Famous old stadium this. It's been Grimsby's home for over 100 years now. It once held a crowd of more than 30,000 for an FA Cup tie against Wolves many, many years ago. King has the pace to get there ahead of Michael Reddy.
Good composed defending, wasn't it, from Ledley King? Well, a couple of half chances, you'd have to say. Grimsby should have given them a little bit of heart. Certainly the scoreline will at the moment.
Brown. Oh, that's clumsy. Parkinson. Held it up well. Bolland. Foul by Genius.
Maybe a bit disappointed, really. Andy Parkinson didn't go and try and exploit the pace that he possesses. You know, why he didn't go 1v1 against Salteri? Really understand, because he has been involved in one or two upsets along the way in his career.
Well, the big targets are up there again, but Robinson was very decisive. Crowd shouting for the shot from distance, but it would have been some effort by Kalala through a crowd of players. Dermot pumping it long again. Whittle's still up there from the earlier set piece. Bolland. There's Croft. Parkinson. Staltieri did well. Not a bad ball by Kalala. Ready. Parkinson again. Whipped it in early, looking perhaps for Jones, and it came to him eventually. Suspicion of a handball in there somewhere.
Certainly big claims, wasn't it, for a penalty. Challenge at Ledley King in the end.
And the umpteenth offside against Robbie Keane already.
A couple of important moments for the referee to deal with. Certainly the Grimsby fans felt they should have had a penalty. And as this ball falls very nearly, invitingly for Gary Jones, how much of the ball did Ledley King get? How much of the player? You know, just little bits and pieces he's looking to try and take advantage of. Well, I don't think he's got anything of the ball. And that was a fair claim for a penalty.
Just another little warning sign for Tottenham Hotspur. Cohen's header on.
That's the type of attitude that they need to show Grimsby. Really get about this Spurs side and just upset their rhythm.
And the League Two team have been encouraged by the last couple of minutes, there's no doubt about that. But Cohen fails to win the corner he was looking for.
Well, interesting evening for Martin Yole. First visit to Blundell Park. And he's seen his side have a lot of possession without really creating that many chances. Only the one of note from Andy Reid.
Keane's layoff. Well, by Parkinson in the end. I thought it was Grimsby who were going to get the free kick.
Well, the referee thought that Spurs might just have some decent possession, so he tried to allow play to continue. It was the initial foul on Robbie Keane that the referee decided to bring the play back. This is the challenge, and you can understand why.
The previous Tottenham free kick early on in the game didn't come off. That was taken by Defoe. Looks like the left-footed Reid might take this. Genus, the other option. And it is Jermaine Genus, and it ended up pretty much where Defoe's earlier effort did.
Can't quite hit the target from those situations. That's two chances they've had. Initial one from Defoe, and that one from Genus. Struggling to get into the game, isn't he, Jermaine Genus? We've seen a lot of the other midfield players on the ball. You know, Reid on this left-hand side, Brown and Carrick. As I say earlier, I don't think it's his natural position to play wide right, but at the moment, he just want to get games under his belt and prove to people that it'll be a good signing for Spurs.
Kick on was by Cohen. Ready. Reid's clearance. Bolland should deal with that. Rob Jones. Sliced that somewhat. There's Nabet, who might get a long run in that position. Looks as though Anthony Gardner's going to be out for a couple of months with a torn thigh muscle. Good run here by Reid.
Particularly good defending, wasn't it, from McDermott? Looked at one point as if Reid had managed to escape the attentions of the Grimsby right back, but he covered well, McDermott. There's a sense, though, when Spurs have got the ball, that they have to be very careful of the delivery into the front two.
Ready with the flick on. Jones was already making his run. Those two combined very well. The accepted practice is usually one tall target man and one nimble, nifty, smaller striker, but Grimsby go with two big men, and they've caused Tottenham a few problems. Lee, Keane's layoff. Here's Staltieri. Keane. Oh, great skill by Robbie Keane. Two in the middle, Defoe's one of them! And that was close.
Oh, it was a real cutting-edge look, wasn't it? And no real surprise, Robbie Keane was very much involved in this move. He was the one that started off. Terrific ball. And when that came back into the box, well, Jermaine Defoe's just looking for some direction with the header. That was a big let-off. You really do expect when the likes of Defoe and Keane are in positions like that, then they really do finish the move off. It's the way things are going for Jermaine at the moment.
Whittle doing well, but it's broken for Brown. On to the Canadian Staltieri. And this time it's Defoe who loses out to Bolland. Nowhere for him to go. He's saying, look, who do I pass to? So McDermott made himself available. As does Reddy now. Silly trip, really, by Lee. He's claiming his innocence.
Just that wants to give away, aren't they? I mean, you know that Grimsby possess a lot of potential quality from set pieces, and the last thing you really want is to encourage pressure from free kicks or corners. And that's exactly what Lee has just done now. The challenge against Reddy. And again, as I said earlier, you know, the quality from these situations have to be right. All right, having big players in there.
Whittle has been left unmarked on the far post, and Jones on the near post.
Decent, wasn't it?
Whittle still forward from that free kick, and he's earned his team a throw and the chance to jog back to his defensive position.
As we've seen already, you know, the delivery from the corners or free kicks doesn't have to be brilliant, it just needs to be in the right direction, because you know that the size of Whittle and Rob Jones, they really are going to win their fair percentage.
Owen wins it back. Kalala takes over. It's a good ball. Parkinson. It's gone for goal. What a good effort that was.
Well, I don't know whether this does anything in the air, but Paul Robinson looked at one point as if he could make a real mess of this. Good intentions of cutting inside. It's a long way out. And whether Paul Robinson was deceived with the flight or the pace of the strike from Andy Parkinson, he certainly looked as if he may have made a mess of it, but it was close, wasn't it? To get the manager up on his feet.
And his decision to gamble on Parkinson's fitness almost paid off that. His delivery from the corner wasn't bad either. And once again, as you might have expected, Jones was the player they couldn't cope with.
Just very, very difficult to deal with. Trevor mentioned in the studio at the top of the programme, you know, such as the height advantage, in particular of Rob Jones and Justin Whittle. They are really going to win most of these situations. But it's whether they can find the direction from their headers. That's what the manager's looking for. A little bit of quality in the right areas. Certainly enough encouragement here for Grimsby in this first half to suggest, and I say suggest, that there could be a potential upset.
Around 10 minutes to half time. Free kick to Tottenham, fouled by Paul Bolland, who was signed in the summer from Notts County. Now Brown. To Lee. And too much on it. Well, don't forget, we've got another match from this competition tomorrow night. It's on Sky Sports 2. Doncaster Rovers at home to Manchester City. We begin at 7.
An important 10 minutes or so, isn't it, towards half-time, these Grimsby players, but goalkeeper Slight problem at the moment. Whether it's contact lenses.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. They don't, by the way, it's obviously not going to be a serious problem, but they do not have a substitute goalkeeper on the bench. They have just one young goalkeeper here, and that's a famous name, John Lukic, son of the former Arsenal and Leeds United keeper, who's yet to make his debut. And John Lukic Sr. won this competition with Arsenal even before John Lukic Jr. was born.
He's really being called upon on one big occasion, really, to make a smart save against Andy Reid. Other than that, those players in front of him done a great containing job.
Ready with the flick on. Carrick read it and gives it away to McDermott. On to Cohen. It's a good run by Cohen. It's just opened up for him.
It was difficult. Once he brought it inside, there wasn't that much space really to weave a little bit of something special.
And Bolland anticipated that well. Reid needed to turn on the pace to get there. Very calm play by Paul Robinson. Brown. There's Galtieri. Ginas. On to Brown. Reid again for Tottenham. Keane's already making his run down the centre. Here he is. Jones snapping at his heels.
Well, it's that type of endeavour that really are going to potentially get some joy for Grimsby. If you put pressure on players, the likes of Andy Reid and Michael Brown, Michael Carrick, Jermaine Genius, certainly in that midfield area, you might just get a little bit of joy, and that's what's happened to Grimsby at the moment. I have to say, though, I think really been impressed with their fitness levels.
Cohen. Away by King. Harry Jones again knew exactly where Reddy was. And that combination has worked. Another throw in for Grimsby. Reddy. Oh, he did well to hook that in. Jones was in the middle waiting.
He's took a knock as well, hasn't he, against Naibet. The referee realises that it's a head injury. He's got to blow quickly.
Very quickly to save Grimsby here, because Ginas is on the run, and very impressively so, and looks for Keane, but just got the final ball wrong.
Just had too much on it, didn't he? Did brilliantly, Jermaine Genius. First glimpse that we've seen of the quality that he possesses. The Grimsby players thought that Spurs might have just put the ball out of play, but I don't think they realised that Jones had felt the full effects from that challenge from Naibet moments earlier. He's certainly a battling, strong centre-forward, isn't he? And it's an accident. Certainly no intention on the part of Naibet, but this is a terrific run from Genius. Real determination. This is where he's looking for a little bit of quality. Clever run from Robbie Keane. Knows there's a bit of space in behind the two centre-backs.
Harry Jones scored the winner for Grimsby in the previous round at Derby, and as I mentioned before the kick-off, played in the final for Tranmere Rovers 5 years ago now. They lost 2-1 against Leicester City at Wembley. And it'll take more than a minor knock like that to disturb him. important period of the game, this, for Grimsby, you feel? They don't want to throw away their good work so far by conceding this close to half-time. Ready. Oh, I'll tell you what, the cross from McDermott either got deflected or changed direction in the air. I think the former rather than the latter.
That's a big deflection, but just have a look at where Gary Jones is there. Looked as if he could well have been in an offside position. Reddy does well again. He's been a threat in this first half. That is a big deflection. How can the referee not see that? Or the assistant who's at this near side. Don't give a corner.
Grimsby feeling rightly aggrieved about that. Reed. Goal kick. And he's just saying, I didn't see it.
That's where he's looking for a little bit of help, isn't he, from his assistant? An assistant, you see it, he's right there, almost, what, 10 yards away? He's shaking his head. He'll be getting absolute abuse, won't he, behind him now?
He's very fortunate that the dugouts here are on the opposite side of the stadium. Clearance by Whittle. Brown. Keane. Clever. Here's Reed. Genius has arrived in the penalty area. Defoe's in there too. Step clear by Kalala. Reed. Michael Brown. That's short. Parkinson read it. Croft. On for Reddy to chase, and he will chase. Just got a touch maybe off his shin or his knee, so took it away.
It's a good run, you know, Alan, because there's a real temptation to go too early and get yourself caught offside, but he waited. Very nearly showing good pace to get into a goal-scoring position.
But there's a problem here for Grimsby with Genus making ground, and then ran into trouble in the considerable form of the giant Rod Jones. Cohen. Linesman had to give that, didn't he?
Yeah. Only got a one decision, wasn't it?
Harry Cohen on loan, by the way, from the Scottish League club Gretna. Ready. There's Kalala. Hasn't got into the game as yet, but he's a bright and lively little player. Lee's clearance. Here is Kalala. That's better. Parkinson. Good on either foot. He can hit it with his right as well, and it looped off the defender. Reddy's header across the 6-yard box was really dangerous.
It's good pressure, isn't it? Just what they need right before half-time.
They didn't need that, though. Croft easily dispossessed. And this is where they could find themselves stretched, Grimsby. Spurs flooding men forward. Reed. Well, even Naybet, the central defender, had come all the way from the edge of his own box, and that could be a problem at the other end. Parkinson. Genus filling in for Naybet. It's not a bad effort.
Well, you're always looking to work the goalkeeper. That's exactly what Andy Parkinson did. Got stretched at one point, Grimsby, but they responded very positively.
Half-time at Blundell Park, and the Grimsby fans rise to their team, and rightly so. Steve Mildenhall's kept them in it a couple of times with fine goalkeeping, but at the other end, Andy Parkinson has stretched that Tottenham defence more times for comfort as far as Martin Yeo and the Premiership team are concerned. Still very much in the balance, this. A tie that has to be settled tonight. Goalless at half-time, Grimsby Town 0, Tottenham Hotspur 0.
Trevor Francis is our studio guest this evening, and one or two interesting decisions to look at. This team, Grimsby, have never been behind at half-time this season, and they might have been ahead. Wasn't that a penalty?
The Carling Cup on Sky Sports in association with Bet365.
Saturday, a Brand Plus double in association with Bet365.
Absolutely brilliant!
First at 12:30.
Oh, what a goal that is!
Birmingham versus Liverpool.
Unstoppable!
Then at 5 p.m, Bolton v Portsmouth.
How about that?
You can order either of these games for £7. See channel 437 or call 08705 160 160.
It took something extraordinary to emerge as Car of the Year 2005. A car with adaptive front lighting, solar reflect windscreens, and keyless entry. The very latest in Bluetooth voice control and the highest Euro NCAP safety rating in its class ever. The new Ford Focus, now available with a typical 5.5% APR. For details, visit your Ford dealer today.
Monday.
Cheers.
Carling, spot on.
Stand up in here all day, wasting my time for somebody that don't even appreciate it.
More and more people are choosing npower for their gas and electricity. Take both, and you could have a £50 discount automatically every year. You, us, gas and electricity, happy together.
You know, people think car insurance is boring until suddenly, what do you know? It becomes really interesting. But if you're with eSure.com and let them fix it, they'll even give you a free courtesy car to see you through. Not only could you save yourself a bunch of money with eSure.com, you'd save yourself a load of trouble, too. That's not boring. I'll tell you what is boring, though. Cats. eSure.com. Car insurance at miser's prices. Come on, give us a click.
A civil war is destabilizing a whole region. And within hours, rebel forces will provoke a wider conflict by launching a missile at one of our ships. Who's going to stop them?
Expect D20. Max, this is Foxtrot. Exit 220 inbound fast out. Connect to AAW Auto.
Open your eyes to a more breathable contact lens. Introducing O2 Optics. New breathable monthly contact lenses that transmit up to 5 times more oxygen than traditional soft lenses. O2 Optics. For less redness and whiter, healthy-looking eyes. So breathable, you can even sleep in them. Ask your optician or visit o2optics.co.uk. New O2 Optics. Breathable lenses for healthy-looking eyes.
Call and text your T-Mobile mates more, so you won't miss a thing. One great rate on pay-as-you-go. Mates rates from T-Mobile.
ING Direct gives everyone 4.75% on their savings. And there really are no catches. That's why 98% of our customers are happy to recommend us. Call now or go online. ING Direct. It's your money we're saving.
The Carling Cup on Sky Sports in association with Bet365.
Coming up on Sky Sports tomorrow night, also from the Carling Cup, it's Doncaster against Premiership Manchester City from 7 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. And then Barcelona against Valencia, 8 o'clock tomorrow on Sky Sports 1. Remember, Barcelona just lost their last match, but not going as badly as Real Madrid, who you can see on Thursday against Athletic Bilbao, 9 o'clock on Sky Sports 2. And insiders say that Jonathan Woodgate may even start on that one. Trevor Francis is our guest in the studio. We're watching the Carling Cup's second round match between Grimsby Town and Tottenham, and it's 0-0, and it's very, very open, isn't it?
I think that Russell Slade has got a very well-drilled side. You know, you can see there's good organisation there. They obviously do a lot of work on the training field. Good shape to them, 4-4-2. They're all working tremendously hard for one another. When they lose possession, Gary Jones drops back into the midfield to assist the midfield four. And really, Spurs haven't had it their own way. I would have expected them to have dominated far more than what they've done and created more opportunities. They've had a couple of chances, but there's been some uncomfortable moments at the other end too.
Absolutely. This is a chance for Andy Reid when he got the wrong side of McDermott, who's making his 700th appearance tonight. What did you make of this?
Well, I think that was good vision, you know, from Defoe. He plays a little reverse ball in, and McDermott actually makes an error there. He allows the ball to run across his body, and he was lucky to get away with that. The keeper made a very good save at the feet of Andy Reid.
Right. Now, there's been a lot, obviously, made of this penalty shout in the first half for Grimsby. I'm told that Gary Jones has actually gone off. He's been replaced at half-time, presumably because he got injured and he was limping after that challenge. Was it a penalty?
Well, the full-back Lee, you know, makes a mess of it there. You'd expect him to defend that ball much better than what he did. He put it back into the situation where Jones actually heads the ball away from Ledley King, and it's a poor challenge from Ledley King. And I have to say that Jones never had it under control, but the actual tackle didn't get the ball, took the leg of Gary Jones. So really, the referee should give a penalty.
Spurs again have had some decent chances at the other end. And what do you make of the Keane-Defoe partnership, which I gather the manager's not too keen on?
Well, I think it makes it very difficult for when the ball's in wide areas. It rather conditions you know, the type of crosses that you need to put in. Well, this is a good example here of Stalteri makes a great run. Now, he's under no pressure, and normally I think he would be looking to stand that ball up at the far post for either Mido or Rasiak. He realises he's got two small forwards, and he plays in a measured ball, and really Defoe should have done better with it.
And should Paul Robinson have done better with this save?
Well, he's kept it out, hasn't he? That's what his criteria is, to stop it from going in the back of the net. But it's an orthodox save. I mean, he's such a good keeper, Paul Robinson, but I think there, you know, his technique wasn't what it should be. But I think he'll probably tell you, you know, that the ball is moved through the air. It's very, very light, the ball, and it makes it so difficult for the goalkeeper.
Could be a very interesting story here. Do join us for the second half, and we'll also bring you a little bit of interesting news from one or two other games in the Carling Cup and some potential shocks involving Premiership sides.
The Carling Cup on Sky Sports in association with Bet365.
Jason Bourne is a hard man to find, but with Sky Movies multi-star, he's easy to catch.
Where is he? Right next to you.
Matt Damon, The Bourne Supremacy, premieres Saturday at 8 on Sky Movies 1, and then every 15 minutes via the red button on Sky Movies 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for our 3 volunteers? Here you go, boys. Why don't you throw these down your pipes? All right, Paul, release the beast!
Are you sure?
Well, hey, don't worry, there's no sugar.
Pepsi Max. Taste to the max.
They killed Mom.
They set her up.